The planet Xiron was unlike any other in the galaxy. Its skies shimmered with colors that changed every hour, from deep violet to bright orange, reflecting the light of 3 suns. The surface was covered in lush forests, vast rivers, and towering mountains, all alive with alien creatures that moved in strange, graceful ways. Despite its beauty, Xiron carried a dark secret. A mysterious poison had begun to spread through its people, slowly weakening them and leaving them vulnerable. Among the afflicted was Mara, a young scientist known for her intelligence and courage. She had dedicated her life to understanding Xiron's ecosystem, and she had worked tirelessly to find a cure for the poison. But despite all her efforts and the combined knowledge of the greatest alien minds, the poison remained undefeated. Her body ached constantly, her vision blurred, and her breathing became shallow. She could feel her strength fading. Mara's laboratory was a towering structure of transparent metal, filled with glowing screens, intricate devices, and vials containing strange, colorful substances. She sat at a workstation, her hands trembling as she held a sample of the toxin. She studied it carefully, analyzing every particle, every chemical reaction. Around her, alien healers moved quickly, carrying advanced instruments designed to detect and neutralize the poison. Another sample. "Mara," said Lauren, a healer with silver skin and eyes that shimmered like the stars. "We need more data to find a cure." Mara nodded weakly. "I've already tried everything, Lauren. Nothing is working. This poison? It is not like anything we have seen before." Outside the laboratory, panic spread among the citizens of Xiron. Families watched helplessly as their loved ones grew weaker. Scientists debated theories, some suggesting the poison was natural, while others believed it had been engineered. The leaders of Xiron's council called for urgent meetings, but no solution emerged. Amid this chaos, a human named Terran walked quietly through the forests of Xiron. Unlike the aliens, Terran was simple in appearance, with dark hair and brown eyes. Wearing a standard research uniform, he carried no advanced devices, no tools that could analyze toxins or measure energy fields. Instead, he moved with curiosity, observing the world around him, noting patterns, touching plants to feel their texture. Tane had come to Xiron as part of an interstellar research mission. His task was to study the planet's flora and fauna, to record data, and to understand its ecosystems. He was not expected to solve the poison crisis. Humans were not known across the galaxy for their technology. Their power lay in their creativity, their ability to think differently. And this simple approach was about to make a difference. As Terran wandered deeper into the forest, he noticed flowers unlike any he had seen before. They glowed faintly, their petals shimmering with colors that seemed alive. He crouched down, studying them carefully. The flowers emitted a faint, sweet fragrance, and when he touched a petal, it felt soft and warm, almost like it had its own energy. Back in the laboratory, Mara's condition worsened. She struggled to stand, her hands shaking as she attempted to operate the instruments around her. Laureen and other healers worked quickly, adjusting machines and administering treatments. But the poison continued its relentless attack. "We need a miracle," whispered Mara, her voice barely audible. She looked at the glowing screens, her mind racing. If only we could find something outside our technology. Something simple. Something natural. At that moment, Terran made a discovery. He noticed that the soil around the glowing flowers seemed to neutralize small amounts of toxins from nearby plants. Curious, he carefully crushed one of the petals and observed the effect. The air around it felt lighter, fresher. He smelled it and noticed a subtle sweetness that reminded him of home. Terran did not understand fully why it worked, but he trusted his instincts. He collected a few flowers and returned to his research station, determined to study them further. His approach was different from the aliens. They relied on machines, complex calculations, and formulas. Terran relied on observation, experimentation, and patience. He believed that sometimes nature held answers that no machine could find. Meanwhile, Mara's condition became critical. She collapsed in the laboratory, her body barely responding to the healer's treatments. The Alien Council sent urgent messages to every research facility, calling for immediate assistance. Scientists arrived from across Xiron, but even with their combined knowledge, nothing could reverse the poison's effects. Lauren knelt beside Mara, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Mara, hold on. We will find a cure. We must." Mara's eyes flickered open, and she whispered, "I don't know if we can. I don't know if anything can help." It was at that moment that Terran, unaware of the turmoil in the city, experimented with the crushed flower. He mixed its petals with water, creating a faintly glowing liquid. He tested it on small samples of poison plants, and to his amazement, the plants began to recover, their leaves regaining color. Their stems standing tall, Ter felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this flower held a power the aliens had overlooked. Perhaps this simple human curiosity could succeed where advanced technology had failed. He carefully prepared more of the liquid, thinking of how it might help the people of Xiron, the alien healers. And scientists were still focused on machines and chemical formulas. They did not notice Terran's work, nor did they consider that a human could discover something beyond their comprehension. Their pride in technology blinded them to the potential of simple solutions as night fell over Xiron.
Mara lay in the laboratory, barely conscious.
Her body was weak, her breathing shallow. Loran and the other healers monitored her, worried that she might not survive until morning. The city outside was quiet, but the fear of the poison lingered like a shadow over everyone. Terran, meanwhile, watched the glowing liquid in his hands. He knew he had discovered something important, something that could change everything. But he also knew that time was running out. Mara needed help, and Xiron's people were running out of hope. With determination, Terran prepared to take the next step. He would bring the liquid to the city, to Mara, and test it. He understood the risks, but he also understood that without action, the planet could lose one of its brightest minds as he approached the edge of the forest. Terran noticed the city lights flickering in the distance. The alien towers rose high, glowing with energy, but they offered no comfort. Mara's life depended not on their machines, but on something much simpler, something that connected life itself. Terran took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. He carried the small vial of glowing liquid carefully, aware that every second counted. The path to the city was long, but he moved with purpose. Guided by intuition and a quiet confidence in his human ingenuity, inside the laboratory, Mara murmured in her sleep, dreaming of a world beyond the poison. Her mind drifted through memories of her childhood, the forests of Xiron, and of the work she had done to protect her people. She did not yet know that a human would bring hope to her world, that a single crushed flower could become the key to survival. The night was silent, broken only by the sounds of Terran's footsteps on the forest floor. Each step carried the promise of change, the possibility that even in a world dominated by advanced technology, human insight and simplicity could prevail. By the time Terran reached the city's edge, he could see the tall spires of the laboratory and the soft glow of lights where Mara lay. The alien guards watched him suspiciously, unfamiliar with humans and their strange ways. Terran held up the vial and explained its purpose, showing the glowing liquid and demonstrating its effect on a small poisoned plant. The healers were skeptical, but desperation forced them to act. Lauren nodded slowly and allowed Terran to enter the laboratory. Mara's body lay on a table, fragile and pale, yet still alive. Terran approached carefully, understanding the responsibility in his hands. He administered a small amount of the liquid, watching Mara's vital signs. The room was tense, filled with alien scientists and healers who could hardly believe what they were witnessing. Slowly, Mara's color began to return. Her breathing stabilized, and a faint warmth spread through her body. Hope returned to the laboratory. The poison, once unstoppable, now met its first real challenge. Terran's human insight had given Xiron a chance, and although no one could predict the outcome fully, the simple act of crushing a flower had started a chain of events that could change the fate of an entire civilization. As Mara opened her eyes, she saw Terran standing over her. She smiled weakly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you. I don't know how you did this." Terran smiled in return. Sometimes the simplest answers are the hardest to see. Nature has its ways, and humans have a way of noticing things others overlook. Mara's recovery had just begun. And Xiren's people would soon learn that even in a world of advanced science, a single human, a simple flower, and a little patience could make all the difference. The night ended with a quiet sense of wonder. Outside the laboratory, the forests of Xirun glowed softly under the light of the three suns. Within, hope had returned, and the first step toward a new era had begun, led not by machines or formulas, but by human insight, curiosity, and courage. The sun rose over Xirun, casting golden light across the vast forests and alien cities. The soft glow of the three suns reflected off the glass towers, and the wind carried a sweet scent of flowers through the streets. Yet despite the beauty, the fear of the poison still lingered. Mara had stabilized, thanks to Terran's intervention, but the danger was far from over. The poison had already spread to many others, and no one knew how deep it had taken root. Terra awoke in his small research station at the edge of the forest. He had spent the night thinking. Carefully observing the glowing flower that had saved Mara, he realized its properties were unusual. The flower seemed to contain something that neutralized toxins naturally, like the alien medicines, which relied on complex chemicals and energy fields. This flower worked directly with the body and the environment. Terran decided to explore further. He packed a small bag with supplies, including a few of the glowing flowers and vials for testing. He knew the forest held secrets, and the more he learned, the better chance he had of helping Mara and the people of Xirun. As he moved through the trees, he noticed how alive the forest felt. Alien creatures with transparent wings flitted between the trees, while vines twisted in ways that seemed almost deliberate. The ground glowed faintly in places, revealing paths that were easy to miss. Terran followed these paths, observing the plants and animals around him. He reached a section of the forest he had not seen before. Here the flowers grew in clusters, more vibrant and numerous than anywhere else. Their colors shifted in patterns that seemed like messages, and their glow pulsed faintly as if in rhythm with the life around them. Terran carefully examined the petals. When he crushed one and mixed it with water, he noticed that it released a vapor that neutralized small traces of poison in nearby plants. Terran felt a spark of hope. Perhaps this was the key. If he could find a way to extract the active properties of these flowers, he could create a larger supply of the liquid that had saved Mara. He worked carefully, taking notes and collecting samples, making sure not to damage the plants more than necessary. Meanwhile, in the city, the alien council was in turmoil. The healers and scientists had gathered to discuss the progress of the poison crisis. Many were skeptical of Terran's method. Their technology had failed, and now a human simple flower seemed to work better than their machines. Some saw it as a miracle, while others feared it challenged their authority and knowledge. Lauren, the healer who had been by Mara's side, spoke up. "We must allow him to continue. The flower is showing results. It is simple, but it works." The council members debated some raising objections, but in the end, they allowed Terran access to the city's laboratories. He would be given space to study the flower and attempt to create a treatment for the poisoned citizens. It was unusual for the council to give a human such authority, but desperation left them no choice. Tara arrived at the city laboratory early the next morning. The laboratory was a vast space filled with glowing instruments, energy fields, and alien machines. He set up his small workspace near a window where sunlight filtered through and began experimenting. His first task was to replicate the effect that had saved Mara. He crushed the petals of the glowing flowers, mixed them with water, and observed the chemical reaction. He found that the liquid emitted a faint energy signature, one that interacted with the toxins in a way the alien machines could not measure. The more he experimented, the more he understood that the flower's properties were alive, connected to the ecosystem of the forest itself. Terran realized that the poison might have been designed or evolved to disrupt artificial systems. The aliens relied heavily on technology, and the poison attacked their bodies in ways their machines could not detect. The flower, however, worked naturally, correcting imbalances and restoring health in a way that required no machine. As Terran worked, Mara visited him in the laboratory. She had recovered enough to move freely, though she was still weak. Her eyes lit up with curiosity as she watched Terran examine the flower. "How does it work?" she asked softly. Terran smiled. "I don't know everything yet. It seems alive in a way our technology can't measure. It works with the body, with the environment. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the hardest to see." Mara nodded. "Your way of thinking, it is different from ours. We always try to control nature. You are listening to it instead." Together, they began to study the flowers in more detail. Terran carefully extracted the glowing liquid and tested it on small samples of poisoned tissue brought from patients across the city. Slowly, the liquid restored health to these samples, reversing the effects of the poison. But Terran knew he needed more. One flower could only produce a small amount of the liquid. He would need to find more flowers, and perhaps even understand how to grow them in large quantities. Mara suggested exploring deeper into the forest, where the flowers grew in abundance. The next day they set out together. Terran led the way, carrying supplies and samples. Mara followed, fascinated by the beauty of the forest and the strange flowers. She had spent her life studying Zirin, yet she had never seen this part of the world. The trees here were taller, the flowers brighter, and the air felt alive with energy. As they moved deeper, Terran pointed out patterns in the plants. These flowers are connected. They communicate through the soil and air. That's why crushing one releases the energy. The forest is alive in ways we cannot fully measure. Mara listened carefully, taking notes. She realized that their advanced machines could not replace observation and intuition. They had relied too much on technology, forgetting that life itself often held answers. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the path. Mara and Terran froze. From the trees emerged alien creatures, tall and slender, with glowing eyes and long limbs. They were predators, rarely seen by humans. But they did not attack immediately. Instead, they observed the humans carefully, as if deciding whether they were a threat. Terran remained calm. He knew that sudden movements could provoke them. Slowly lowered his bag, showing that he carried only flowers. Mara held her ground, trusting Terran's guidance. After a tense moment, the creatures retreated back into the forest, leaving the humans unharmed. "That was close," Mara whispered. Terran nodded. "The forest tests us. It is cautious, but it is not hostile. We must respect it, and it will help us." They continued their journey, finding larger clusters of the glowing flowers. Terran carefully collected enough petals to create a small supply of the liquid for testing on patients. Realizing that human patience and careful attention were key to their success. Back in the city, the council grew impatient. Many citizens were still suffering, and some began to lose hope. Yet when Terran returned with the new supply of liquid, they witnessed something remarkable. He administered the liquid to several patients, and their health improved quickly. Color returned to their skin, their strength increased, and the poison receded. The council members were stunned. Advanced machines, complex formulas, and years of research had failed, but a human, using simple observation and a flower, had found a solution. Lauren turned to the council. "We underestimated him. We must accept that humans have wisdom that we do not fully understand." Terran did not seek recognition. He focused on his work, studying the flowers and creating more liquid. Mara assisted, him documenting every detail and learning from his approach. The combination of alien knowledge and human insight created a powerful new method to fight the poison. As days passed, more patients recovered. The city began to breathe again, hope spreading like sunlight through the streets. Children watched. The humans worked with fascination, and scientists started to observe and learn, realizing that their reliance on technology alone had limits. Terran and Mara returned to the forest multiple times, discovering new varieties of flowers and experimenting with combinations. Each discovery brought better results, and the city slowly began to heal. The poison, once unstoppable, was now being neutralized through the simplest of methods. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned a soft purple, Mara and Terran stood at the edge of the forest. The wind carried the scent of flowers, and the city below glowed with renewed energy. Mara looked at Terran and smiled. "You have changed everything," she said. Terran shook his head. "I only listened. Nature shows us the way if we pay attention. Humans have a way of seeing what others miss. That is our strength." The forest around them pulsed with life, as if acknowledging their words. In that moment, Mara understood something important. Technology was powerful, but life itself, with its simplicity and balance, held secrets that no machine could replicate. And humans, with their intuition, curiosity, and courage, could unlock those secrets in ways no one had imagined. The path ahead was still long. The poison still existed in hidden areas, and other challenges would arise. But for the first time in many weeks, hope was strong. Zirin's people were beginning to see that, even in a world of advanced science, human insight, observation, and respect for nature could make a difference. And so, Terran, the human, continued his work, exploring the forests, studying the flowers, and quietly preparing to face the next challenge. Mara stayed by his side, learning, documenting, and discovering that sometimes the simplest things could change the fate of an entire civilization. The city of Xiron had begun to change. Where fear and despair had once filled the streets, hope now lingered. Citizens watched carefully as Terran, the human, worked tirelessly alongside Mara, the glowing flower liquid, which had saved Mara's life, was now being tested on dozens of other poisoned individuals. Each success brought joy. Each small recovery building confidence in Terran's simple yet effective methods. Despite the progress, many alien leaders remained skeptical. Their pride in technology was strong, and they could not fully understand how a human and a simple flower could outperform years of advanced science. Some whispered that this was a coincidence, a fluke. Yet the results were undeniable. People were recovering, their bodies regenerating faster than any machine or formula could achieve. In the laboratory, Terran worked quietly, focused on his task. He crushed petals, mixed them with water, and adjusted small variables. Mara watched closely, documenting every step. The alien healers hovered nearby, observing in silence. Curious despite their hesitation, "Look at this," Terran said one morning, showing a vial of the glowing liquid. "It is more than just a cure. It seems to teach the body how to fight the poison on its own. The flower is amplifying natural defenses." Mara leaned in. "It is incredible. Your methods are different from ours. We rely on machines and energy fields, but you rely on observation and understanding." Terran smiled. "Sometimes the simplest answers are the hardest to see. Technology is powerful, but life itself has its own intelligence. Humans learn by observing and experimenting, not just calculating." He carefully applied the liquid to a young patient whose body had been severely affected by the poison. The child had lost color in their skin, and their movements were slow and weak. Terran gently placed the liquid on the child's skin and whispered softly. Mara watched in awe as the child's body began to respond. Color returned, breathing stabilized, and strength gradually returned to the limbs. The healers gasped. They had never witnessed anything like it. Their advanced machines could measure energy levels, detect toxins, and administer treatments, but they had never seen such immediate and natural healing. The human approach was different. It worked in harmony with life itself. Word of the successes spread quickly throughout the city. Families came to see Terran and Mara, bringing their loved ones for treatment. Many had lost hope, yet each person who received the flower liquid experienced rapid improvement. The city began to buzz with excitement, and the Alien Council could no longer ignore the results. Counselor Varel, stern and respected leader, summoned Terran to speak before the council. The chamber was massive, filled with glowing energy panels and floating displays. Alien leaders gathered, their expressions a mix of skepticism and curiosity. "Terran," Varel said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "your methods have brought hope where our technology has failed. Explain to us how this flower works and why it is effective." Terran stepped forward, holding a vial carefully. The flower interacts with the body and the poison in a way your machines cannot measure. It enhances natural defenses, allowing the body to heal itself. It is not a replacement for your science, but a complement to it. Observing life, understanding patterns, and experimenting patiently can reveal solutions even the most advanced machines cannot find. The council listened silently. Some nodded, beginning to understand the human approach. Others remained skeptical, unwilling to admit that a simple flower could achieve what years of research could not. Meanwhile, Mara continued working alongside Taryn. Together, they developed a method to safely administer the flower liquid to more patients. They created a small delivery device, simple yet effective, which allowed them to treat multiple individuals at once. The healers observed closely, learning the procedure step by step. The first large-scale treatment session took place in the city square. Citizens who had been too weak to leave their homes were brought in carefully. Taryn applied the liquid, and Mara guided the process. Slowly, the effects became visible. People who had been unable to walk began to stand. Color returned to their skin. Energy returned to their bodies. The crowd watched in astonishment. Murmurs of disbelief turned into cheers of hope.
Children
Clapped, elders smiled, and even the skeptical council members could not deny the results. The simple human methods had changed the course of the crisis. Taryn noticed patterns as he worked. Different flowers had slightly different effects, and combining petals from multiple plants sometimes produced stronger results. He carefully experimented, taking detailed notes, testing each combination to ensure safety and effectiveness. Mara recorded everything, amazed at how much could be achieved through observation and patience rather than complex machines. As the days passed, Taryn and Mara began to train a group of healers to continue the treatments. They taught the aliens how to handle the flowers, how to prepare the liquid, and how to administer it safely. Many of the healers were surprised at how simple the process was, yet they could not deny its power. One evening, as the sun set over the city, Taryn and Mara walked through the laboratory garden. The glowing flowers swayed gently in the breeze, their soft light reflecting on the glass walls. "Do you think we can eliminate the poison completely?" Mara asked, her voice filled with cautious hope. Taryn looked at the flowers. "It is possible. We need to continue learning, continue observing. Technology can support us. But the key is understanding life itself. Humans have a way of seeing connections that others might miss. That is our strength." Mara nodded. She realized that Taryn's insight was more than a methodite, was a philosophy. Observing, experimenting, and respecting the natural world could achieve results even the most advanced technology could not. Suddenly, a messenger arrived from the outer districts. A large group of citizens had fallen ill, and the poison seemed to be spreading faster in certain areas. Grinned. Quickly gathered Mara and a team of healers. They carried supplies of the flower liquid and moved toward the affected districts. The streets were chaotic. Families watched helplessly as their loved ones grew weaker. Fear and desperation filled the air. Taryn moved calmly, applying the liquid to each patient with precision and care. Mara assisted, guiding the healers and ensuring that everyone received treatment. The effects were immediate. People who had been pale and weak regained strength. Their breathing steadied, their movements became more confident. The crowd cheered and hope spread quickly through the district. The alien healers began to understand the importance of observation, patience, and respect for nature. Counselor Varel visited the district to witness the process firsthand. He observed Taryn at work, noting how a human could achieve what machines had failed to do. "Perhaps we have underestimated humans," Varel whispered to a fellow counselor. "Their methods are simple, yet effective. There is wisdom here that we must learn from." Chiron continued his work for several weeks, tirelessly treating patients and experimenting with new combinations of flowers. Mara supported him, recording every detail and helping the healers adapt to the new methods. Slowly but surely, the poison began to lose its grip on the city. The citizens began to see humans not as outsiders, but as allies. Taryn's quiet courage and careful observation had earned their respect. But Mara's admiration grew, not just for the results, but for the way humans approached life, seeking understanding rather than control. One evening, as the suns dipped below the horizon, Taryn and Mara returned to the laboratory. They stood together in silence, watching the glowing flowers in the garden. The city below was quiet, peaceful, and slowly recovering from the poison. "You have changed everything," Mara said softly. Taya shook his head. "I only observed life has its ways. Humans have the ability to notice what others might miss. That is our gift." Mara smiled, realizing that this moment marked the beginning of a new era. Technology and science were powerful, but understanding and respecting life itself held a power beyond imagination. Humans, with their patience, curiosity, and courage, had shown Xiren a path forward. As the stars appeared in the sky, Taryn prepared for the next day. There were still areas of the city to treat, more flowers to study, and more people to help. The poison had not been completely defeated, but for the first time, hope was stronger than fear, and so the human continued his work, quietly observing, experimenting, and teaching others to see the world differently. Mara stayed by his side, documenting and learning, understanding that sometimes the simplest actions, like crushing a flower, could change the fate of an entire civilization. The city slept peacefully, unaware of the full potential of the glowing flowers and of the human who had reminded them that hope, insight, and courage could overcome even the deadliest challenges. The city of Xiren was slowly awakening to a new reality. Where fear had once gripped its citizens, hope now flowed like sunlight. People who had been poisoned walked through the streets again, their faces filled with color, their steps steady and confident. The alien healers, once doubtful of Taryn's methods, now observed him with awe and growing respect. Tan continued his work in the laboratory, moving among glowing flowers, delicate vials, and careful experiments. He worked quietly, his mind focused on understanding the flowers and their interaction with the poison. Each day he experimented with new combinations, adjusting small details and observing the effects. His methods were simple, yet precise, relying on patience, intuition, a deep respect for life itself. Mara worked alongside him, documenting every detail. She had learned more about observation and experimentation in the past weeks than she had in years of formal study. Her admiration for Taryn grew, not just for his discoveries, but for the way he approached life. He noticed patterns others missed, connected ideas that seemed unrelated, and always moved forward with calm determination. "Look at this," Taryn said one morning, holding a small vial of liquid. "By combining petals from 3 different flowers, we can create a solution that works even faster. It strengthens the body and neutralizes the poison in record time." Mara nodded, impressed. "The people will recover even more quickly. You have changed the way we think about medicine." Word of Taryn's work had spread throughout Xiren. Families came from distant districts, bringing their loved ones for treatment. Crowds gathered outside the laboratory, watching as the humans worked. Children stared wide-eyed at the glowing flowers, fascinated by their colors and gentle glow. Elders whispered in admiration, realizing that the humans had brought hope when technology had failed. Even the Alien Council, once skeptical, could not ignore the results. Counselor Varel visited the laboratory, observing Taryn at work. He noted the precision, the patience, and the quiet determination that humans possessed. "Perhaps we have underestimated them," Varel whispered to a fellow counselor. "Their methods are simple, yet effective. There is wisdom here that we have ignored for too long." Taryn did not seek recognition. He focused on the task at hand, applying the flower liquid to patients, testing new combinations, and teaching Mara and the healers to observe carefully. Slowly, the alien healers began to understand. Machines and formulas were not the only path to healing. Observation, intuition, and respect for life could achieve what technology alone could not. One day, a messenger arrived with news from the outer districts. A group of citizens had been exposed to the poison in high concentration, and their condition was critical. Taryn quickly gathered his supplies, Mara, and a team of healers. They moved swiftly to the affected districts. carrying vials of the glowing liquid and tools to administer it efficiently. The streets were tense. Families watched anxiously as their loved ones struggled to breathe, their bodies weakened by the poison. Terran approached calmly, his presence alone inspiring confidence. Mara guided the healers, ensuring that each patient received careful attention. Terran applied the liquid with precision. Slowly, the effects became visible. Patients who had been on the verge of collapse regained strength. Their skin regained its natural color, their breathing steadied, and their movements became more confident. The citizens' hope returned, stronger than before. The alien healers observed closely, learning to combine their technology with the simple, human methods. They began to understand that machines could measure and detect, but they could not replace observation, intuition, and respect for natural life. The humans were teaching them a new way to think about medicine and healing. As days passed, Terran and Mara expanded their work. They created a small network of trained healers who could administer the flower liquid to citizens in remote areas. They taught them how to observe subtle signs in the body, how to adjust doses, and how to remain patient. Slowly, the poison's grip on the city weakened. Terran also explored deeper into the forests. Studying new varieties of glowing flowers, he discovered that some flowers worked better in combination, while others enhanced the effects of the liquid when crushed in specific ways. His observations were methodical, careful, and full of respect for the life around him. Mara accompanied him on these excursions, learning to see the forest through his eyes. One afternoon, as the suns began to set, casting golden light across the trees, Mara turned to Terran. "Your work is incredible. You have shown us that humans are more than what we thought. You have reminded us that observation and understanding can solve problems even the most advanced technology cannot." Terran smiled. "We learn by noticing patterns and testing them. Technology is powerful, but it cannot replace life itself. Humans have a gift for seeing connections that others might miss." Back in the city, the council continued to observe. More citizens were recovering each day. The success of the flower liquid had inspired them to rethink their reliance on machines alone. Councillor Virel called a meeting with Terran and Mara. "You have shown us something remarkable," Virel said. "Your methods are simple, yet effective. We wish to integrate your techniques with our technology so that we can protect our citizens more efficiently. You have proven that humanity brings more than strength or tools. You bring insight, courage, and understanding." Terran nodded, grateful for their trust. "I am happy to help. Together, humans and aliens can learn from each other. Nature and technology can work together to solve even the hardest problems." The following weeks were a turning point for Xiren. The poison, once unstoppable, began to recede from every district. The citizens regained their strength, and the city buzzed with energy and life. Children played in the streets, families celebrated recoveries, and healers continued to learn from Terran's methods. Mara and Terran worked tirelessly, studying new flowers, testing combinations, and refining the liquid. Each discovery brought better results, and their collaboration inspired the alien scientists to explore new ways of thinking. Technology alone was no longer the only path to success. Observation, patience, and respect for life were equally powerful. One evening, Terran and Mara returned to the laboratory after treating patients in a distant district. They stood quietly in the garden, surrounded by glowing flowers, their petals shimmering under the soft light of the three suns. "The people are recovering," Mara said, her voice filled with relief and admiration. "Your work has changed everything." Terran smiled. "We only observed, experimented, and listened. Humans have a way of noticing what others miss. That is our strength. Technology helps, but life itself holds the answers." As they spoke, the city below glowed with renewed energy. Citizens walked freely, their fear replaced by hope. The alien healers, once skeptical, now worked alongside humans, combining technology and simple observation to achieve incredible results. The council called a ceremony to honor the human contributions. Terran did not seek glory, but he attended to demonstrate collaboration and unity. Citizens cheered, not just for the success of the treatments, but for the new understanding that humans brought to their world. Mara stood by his side, proud of their achievements and the lessons they had learned together. During the ceremony, Councillor Varel addressed the citizens. Today, we have witnessed something extraordinary. A human has shown us that courage, curiosity, and respect for life can solve problems that even the most advanced technology cannot. Let this be a reminder that we must always remain open to new ideas, and that wisdom can come from unexpected places. Terran remained humble, focusing on the work ahead. He continued to study the glowing flowers, refine the liquid, and teach the healers. Each day brought new challenges, but also new hope. Mara walked beside him, reflecting on how much had changed. She had once believed that technology alone was the key to solving problems. Now she understood that insight, observation, and human intuition were equally important. Humans had proven that, even in a world dominated by machines, courage and understanding could make all the difference. As night fell over Xiren, the forest outside the city shimmered with the glow of countless flowers. The air was filled with life, energy, and possibility. Terran and Mara stood together, watching the stars appear, knowing that their work had only just begun. The poison had been defeated in the city, but other challenges awaited. Terran and Mara were ready, guided by the knowledge that humans could observe, experiment, and find solutions that machines alone could not. They had proven that simplicity, patience, and respect for life were powerful tools, capable of changing the course of an entire civilization. And so, humanity's quiet strength shone brightly on Xiren. Terran's courage, observation, and understanding had not only saved lives, but had inspired a new way of thinking. The aliens had learned that humans were more than allies. They were a source of insight, hope, and a reminder that even the simplest actions could reshape the fate of the world. The city slept peacefully, the citizens healed, and the glowing flowers pulsed softly in the night. Humanity had proven its strength, and Xiren would never forget the lesson. The city of Xiren had never seen such hope. Where fear had once ruled, life now flowed freely. Citizens moved through the streets with energy and joy, their faces bright and healthy. Children played near fountains, elders walked with ease, and families reunited with loved ones who had been weakened by the poison. The human Terran had changed everything. His simple methods, combined with the glowing flowers, had transformed the city. Terran worked quietly in the laboratory, accompanied by Mara. Together they had refined the flower liquid, creating a formula that could heal even the most severe cases of the poison. They trained alien healers in the method, showing them how to observe, experiment, and administer the liquid safely. The aliens were eager students, and slowly, the combination of human insight and alien technology spread throughout the city. Mara watched Terran as he carefully mixed petals, observing the subtle changes in color and energy. She had learned so much from him in just a few weeks. Not only had he saved countless lives, but he had also taught her and the healers to think differently. Technology was powerful, but it was only one tool among many. Observation, patience, and respect for life could achieve results no machine could replicate. "Do you think the poison will disappear completely?" Mara asked, her voice soft but hopeful. Terran examined the liquid in his hands. "It will take time. We must reach every district, every patient. But I believe we can do it. The flowers are connected to the land itself, and their energy spreads naturally. If we work carefully, we can heal the entire planet." The council agreed to support them fully. They provided resources, healers, and transportation to reach even the most remote areas. For the first time, humans and aliens worked side by side with trust and respect. Terran guided the teams, showing them how to observe patients, administer the liquid, and adjust doses based on subtle signs. Mara documented every step, ensuring the process could be replicated and studied as they traveled to distant districts. Terran observed patterns in the spread of the poison. Some areas were more affected due to environmental factors, while others had natural barriers that slowed its progress. By combining his observations with the council's data, he created a plan to distribute the flower liquid efficiently. The first major mission took them to the northern valleys. where a cluster of villages had been severely affected. The streets were quiet, and the people looked weak and fearful. Terran moved calmly, greeting the villagers and explaining the process. Mara and the alien healers assisted, preparing doses and helping patients understand the treatment. Slowly, the effects began to show. People who had been unable to stand regained strength. Color returned to their faces, their breathing steadied, and their movements became more confident. Families watched in awe as their loved ones recovered. The villagers' fear was replaced with hope, and the news of recovery spread quickly to nearby areas. Terra continued their work for several days, moving from village to village. Each success built confidence, not just in the people, but also in the alien healers who observed and learned. They realized that while technology measured and analyzed, it was observation, intuition, and patience that unlocked the true power of healing. One evening, as the sun set behind the northern mountains, Terran and Mara paused to rest. They watched the glow of the flowers in the valley below, shimmering softly in the twilight. "The people are healing faster than I expected," Mara said, her voice filled with admiration. "Your methods are incredible." Terran smiled. "It is not just the method. It is patience and respect. We must listen to life itself. Humans have a way of noticing what others might overlook, and that makes a difference." Meanwhile, the Alien Council held meetings to discuss the results. They had witnessed the transformation firsthand and were amazed at the efficiency and simplicity of Terran's approach. Counselor Varel addressed the leaders. "We have underestimated humanity for too long," he said. "Their insight, patience, and courage have saved countless lives. It is time we fully embrace collaboration and learn from them. They are not just allies, they are a force for change." The council decided to expand the effort across the entire planet. Transport ships were prepared to carry the flower liquid to distant regions. And teams of trained healers, both human and alien, were organized for maximum efficiency. Mara and Terran were asked to lead the effort, coordinating logistics and overseeing treatments. As they traveled, Terran noticed how connected Ziran's ecosystem was. The glowing flowers were part of a larger network of life, and their energy seemed to flow naturally through the land. He realized that understanding these connections was just as important as creating the liquid itself. He taught the healers to observe not only the patients but also the environment, noticing subtle signs in plants, soil, and air that could indicate the spread of the poison. Days turned into weeks, and the combined human and alien teams reached every corner of Ziran. Villages, towns, and cities saw miraculous recoveries. Families celebrated the return of health, and the streets buzzed with renewed energy. Children played freely, elders walked with strength, and the alien healers fully embraced the lessons they had learned from humans. In the central city, the council organized a ceremony to honor the achievements. Citizens, healers, and leaders gathered in the great square, where Terran and Mara were recognized for their contributions. Counselor Varel spoke to the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just the defeat of the poison, but the power of collaboration and understanding. A human has reminded us that courage, observation, and respect for life are as important as technology. Let this be a new beginning, where humans and aliens work together to protect and improve our world." Terran stood quietly, humbled by the recognition. He had never sought fame or glory. His goal had always been simple: to help and observe, to find solutions where others could not. Mara stood beside him, proud of their accomplishments and the lessons learned after the ceremony. Terran and Mara returned to the laboratory garden. The glowing flowers swayed gently in the breeze, their colors reflecting the three suns. The air was filled with energy, life, and possibility. "We have done so much," Mara said, her voice soft. "But there is still more to learn. These flowers, this land, and these people, they have much to teach us." Terran nodded. "Yes, this is only the beginning. Humans and aliens together can discover more, heal more, and protect this world. We have proven that even the simplest actions, like crushing a flower, can change the fate of an entire civilization." As night fell, Ziran's cities glowed with renewed life. Citizens rested peacefully, knowing that the poison had been defeated and that humans and aliens had formed a strong alliance. The forests pulsed with the gentle glow of flowers, spreading energy and hope throughout the land. Terra continued their work, traveling between villages, studying the flowers, and teaching healers. Their collaboration had inspired a new way of thinking across Zyran 1 that valued observation, patience, and respect for life alongside technology. The alien scientists embraced this new approach, blending their advanced tools with human insight. Together, they created solutions for challenges that had once seemed impossible. The glowing flowers became a symbol of hope and unity, representing the power of understanding, collaboration, and courage. In the heart of the laboratory, Terran and Mara stood together. Watching the suns rise over Zyran, the city was alive, the forests vibrant and the people thriving. They knew that humanity had proven its strength, not through weapons, not through machines, but through observation, intuition, and a quiet courage that had changed an entire world. And so, a single human, a simple flower, and the courage to observe had reshaped Zyran forever. The alien civilization learned that humans were not just visitors, they were teachers, allies, and a force for change. Life, simple and complex. Technology and understanding had joined together to create a future filled with hope, cooperation, and endless possibility. Terran smiled as he watched the citizens of Zyran celebrate. Mara stood beside him, her heart full of gratitude. Together they had shown that even in the face of deadly challenges, insight, patience, and courage could triumph. Humanity had left its mark on Zyran. The alliance between humans and aliens would endure for generations. The night was calm, flowers glowed softly, and the city slept peacefully. Zyran had been healed, and a new era had begun, a time where humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other and creating a future brighter than any had imagined. The glowing flowers, once hidden in the forbidden forests, now symbolized hope, healing, and the quiet strength of humanity. And from this day forward, Zyran would remember the human who crushed a flower and changed the fate of an entire civilization.